Ms. Abudu, I want to go back to the line of questioning you just had with Senator Grassley. I'm confused, so I just wonder if I can ask some follow-up questions. The Southern Poverty Law Center defined the Alliance Defending Freedom, a legal group that's committed to protecting religious liberty and free speech, as a hate group. Do you agree with that characterization?
Senator, as I stated earlier, my role within the SPLC is in the legal department. It is a separate department that deals with the monitoring and research and profiling of anti-government and other outside groups. So again, I can't speak with any authority as to the organization's decision with respect to that work.
But ma'am, Southern Poverty Law Center has obviously done lots of good work historically, but that's not how they raise their money now. How do you think they get their hundreds of millions of dollars?
I appreciate, Senator, your recognition of the wonderful work that the organization has done. It's been because of organizations like SPLC that we have, for example, the Sixth Amendment right to counsel, that we have ended anti-miscegenation laws like in cases such as Loving v. Virginia. And it is that kind of work that organizations like SPLC has done that drew me to an organization like that.
Ma'am, I don't want to interrupt you, but the chairman's going to cut me off. We are going to agree on a lot of history of the civil rights movement. That's not what the Southern Poverty Law Center does now. It has hundreds of millions of dollars. I think last year, I don't know what the exact number was, but raised 150-ish million. I think they have $500 million in the bank. And they raise their money largely by defaming people that they disagree with. They label group after group after group hate groups. And you're unaware when you went to work there that that's kind of their main bread and butter right now. Could you define hate for us, even if you don't want to speak to Alliance Defending Freedom or Trinity Lutheran, or we could go organization after organization that they've labeled a hate group. What is a hate group?
Senator, I can say that hate is a very negative feeling that is directed to someone that's often without any foundation. What I can also say, Senator, is that the money that the organization has raised has been used to support the work such as the voting rights work that I've done, representing individuals and communities that if they did not have access to pro bono counsel, they would not have the resources necessary to vindicate their rights in federal or state court.
We are aligned on many things, but do you think the Religious Freedom Restoration Act is a hateful law?
No, sir, I do not. In fact, I've dedicated a good part of my career prior to joining the SPLC to religious liberty, representing a variety of individuals of various religious faiths wanting to exercise their right under the First Amendment in terms of free exercise.
But doesn't your employer label state-based laws modeled on the Religious Freedom Restoration Act hateful?
Senator, as a litigator, I have never, with the SPLC, brought a case arguing related to, I will say, religious freedom. But prior to joining the SPLC, I have represented individuals who have argued that they were being discriminated on the job because they wanted to acknowledge or express their religious faith, individuals who even in state custody were denied access to adhering to their faith. And as a civil rights lawyer, especially a voting rights lawyer, I have represented a lot of Christian individuals in particular whose faith has served as the foundation for how they have been able to continue in their march for access to equal justice.
So I appreciate the substance of the answer you just gave, but you work for an employer that raises money by saying that people who hold the views that you just said you defend are hateful. That's how they raise their money. And you didn't know that when you went to work there?
Senator, again, the funds that the SPLC has raised has been used to represent individuals who, if not having access to pro bono counsel, would not be able to exercise in many ways their constitutional rights. And that work that I've been able to do with the organization, as I said earlier, I'm very proud of.
Ma'am, we're at time. And there are many substantive issues where I know we would agree, but it just doesn't pass the laugh test that you're unaware that the organization you work for raises its money by labeling people who believe in the historic constitutional definition of religious liberty as hate groups. That's how they raise their money. You're not unaware of that.